In 1974, a television documentary entitled UFOs, Past, Present, and Future, hosted by Rod Serling and Burgess Meredith, aired on NBC. Producers of the film attempted to obtain footage of a UFO landing at Holloman Air Force Base, but they maintain they never did. Conspiracy theories and cover-up accusations about the film have circulated ever since. Join us as Paranormal TV offers a one-on-one with the show producer, Robert Emenegger, as he recalls the early days of the production.
By '74, we had our first meetings at the Pentagon with Colonel Coleman and a few others. Coleman was one of the first people I met. He was Pentagon spokesman at the time, and he said, well, you know, if you're going to get into an area that talks about national security issues and all, you're going to, you can be fined and put in prison. And okay. So we go into a side of his office, and he says, by the way, I was piloting a B-25 over Alabama with a 7-man crew. He said, I pursued a UFO. I saw it fly over this field, and the vortex of dust was flying up. And he said, I gave the 25 a full throttle, 350 horsepower, 350 miles an hour. And it went up over behind a tree, and he said, we never could catch it. So here's a man who was supposed to report the UFO Project Blue Book things to the press, who down deep knew this was a reality, at least it was to him. Coleman also then said, well, you ought to talk to George Weinbrenner. George Weinbrenner was the commander of foreign technology. Now, I've always heard that that's the place. That's the center of where all intelligence about foreign, which means either Russian or other countries, or outside the United States. He has a private bunker down at Wright-Patterson, Colonel George Weinbrenner. So I went down the long hall. I could see all the little cameras, surveillance cameras. Walked right up to his desk and said, I want to ask you, what about the landing of an alien craft at Holloman Air Force Base? And I sort of expected him to say, what? The what? He didn't. He said, well, the Soviets know all about us, and we have a very hard time finding out about their technologies. Then he went over to a blackboard and drew a picture of a MiG and said, like this particular MiG. Then he said, but that problem isn't with the Soviets, it's that they have developed weather alteration, and we're working on counter strategies, and I have some of the best scientists working on counter strategies. So I'm still kind of like scratching my head, like, what happened to the question? So he reached up, pulled out a book, handed it to me. He said, like scientists like this one. So I opened the book up and I said, to my friend, Colonel George Weinbrenner, signed Dr. Alan Hynek, and the book was all on UFOs. Well, Hynek was the scientific advisor to the Air Force at that time on UFOs. So it was like a Kafka play. I think, like, did he ever hear the question that I asked? I don't know. But he did say something kiddingly when I walked in. He said, well, they keep talking about we have these 3 little green bodies frozen down in the basement. And that was kind of a neat way to do it. What's the best defense is an offense? I don't know if they really did have anything down there. But that began the search. And from then on, all the Project Blue Book officers out of the past began to line up and help us with our project. We put as many into the show as we could. And that began the project. Then as it started, we got Rod Serling to be the host, and Jose Ferrer and Burgess Meredith to do the storytelling on camera. The foreign press had it nominated for a Golden Globe Award, which is unusual. And so that was that.